start of the week. Let me know in the comments section where you're listening in from. And also, as always, a like is going to go a long way to get the notifications out to the masses, so more and more people can benefit from the information that we're sharing today. So as you're coming in, again, a like goes a long way. Let me know where you're listening from. And also, at any point in time, as we're going through this, please feel free to drop any questions down below. I will do my best to slow down and address the question as adequately as I possibly can. So today we're covering modern ways to generate real estate leads. Now, modern ways of generating real estate leads is exactly as it sounds. There's newer ways. They're not going to be the cold calling. It's not going to be door knocking. That's not going to be old open houses. They're effective in and of themselves. Those strategies do work, obviously, because they continue to happen every single day. A lot of real estate schools still teach that. A lot of brokerages still teach that. And again, it has their place, but what we're talking about today is modern ways to generate real estate leads. So as we know, whenever open houses, cold calling, door knocking, everything else was put into play, certain things didn't exist, especially the social media world that we have all gotten accustomed to here in the past 10, 15 years. I don't even know how long we're talking about at this point when it comes to social media. So as far as this video, this live stream goes, is we're breaking it down into 3 elements. So first is going to be covering the essentials, covering what needs to be done before we go out and execute. So just giving you the essentials, something that is almost like housekeeping items. So just covering the essential part of it. And then we're going to migrate into 3 separate platforms, 3 separate places where we're going to do some in-depth breakdowns on how to generate real estate leads from those platforms. So we'll talk about the platforms that you can go to generate real estate leads today. And also there's a dark horse out there. There's one that in the very near future is going to be a huge winner for you. And we'll get into that as we get a little bit closer to that part. So then the last part of our time together is going to be how we turn our views or our attention into leads. So how we take people from the computer screen or the mobile phone into our CRM. That's what's most important at the end of the day. And that's what a lot of us are missing. I've missed it for the longest time until I would say recently. I would say in the past 3 years is when I finally the light bulb went off. But before then I was just doing this, doing that, doing whatever, and hoping that something would stick. At the end of the day, something did stick, so that's what we're talking about today. So again, we're going to cover the essentials. Then we're going to get into platform-specific activities to generate real estate leads. So again, we're talking about modern lead generation strategies, modern ways to generate real estate leads. We're going to get very tactical. And then at the end is how we're going to take that attention that we're getting into actual leads. So taking people from their computer screen into our CRM. That's effectively what we're talking about. So again, as you're coming in, a like goes a long way. So let me know also where you're listening from or if there's any questions that come a long way. And of course, I would love to connect with you on Instagram. So whenever you're making any comments, whether on the YouTube channel, I really appreciate that. Or if you want to connect for something specific, then the Instagram is the best route to go. All right, so with that being said, let's talk about what needs to happen from a fundamental standpoint. What needs to happen first? The essentials that need to be covered. First is understanding your value proposition, understanding what you're actually bringing into the marketplace. So what is it that you are bringing to the marketplace? Some of you are probably thinking, well, does that mean why I got into real estate or why I'm different? Yes, it has an element of that. That's your value proposition, but I want you to go a little bit further to the point where you create an offer. That's really what I want to hammer home today is creating an offer, something that you offer, something that you present to your buyers and sellers that brings them value. It's that offer proposition. So you want to create an offer that somebody, whether they are on the fence about buying, on the fence about selling, or had no idea that they wanted to buy or had no idea that they wanted to sell, something that's going to attract them to you and actually give you their contact information. So effectively, we're talking about a reason for somebody to give you their intel, a reason for somebody to give you their name, their email, their phone number, and ultimately address if you're looking for seller leads. So that's what we're talking about. The essential part is creating an offer. Just as a point of emphasis, creating an offer does not mean, hey, use me for your next home buying needs or home selling needs. That's not an offer. I hate to break it to you. If that's what you thought, like, oh, I mean, check, I got that one ready. No, that's not what creating an offer means. Creating an offer means something that a home buyer legitimately has an interest in or legitimately has a need for. So let's talk about a simple one would be a preferred home list. So if there's a buyer that is looking to buy and is looking for homes, you can offer a preferred home list. So you can put a preferred homes list together relatively easy through your MLS, just doing a safe search and putting in the filters of 3 beds, 2 bath, under $400,000 in a certain neighborhood. Well, you can offer the preferred home list in Frisco, Texas, as an example. Well, at this point, Frisco is kind of going up there in price, so you might need to bump it up to $500,000. But when it comes to creating that offer, that's what we're talking about. And that's just one of many. Another example of an offer is how much home can you afford? So creating a calculator, and there's many of those already created for you. You don't even have to do it, but having a, how much home can you afford calculator. So having something like that would be intriguing to me as a home buyer. That's interesting. So prior to getting into real estate, here's my this is more telling about me than anybody, I guess, but this is my first question. My first question to Bob, who is my realtor, Bob and Carla, shout out. They're over in Denton. So if you need some strong realtors, they're phenomenal. So prior to me getting into real estate, my first question to Bob was, I make X. At that time was I'll just say 7 figures. So at that time it was 7 figures. And I asked him, I make this, how much home can I afford? That was my first question. Now that was probably very arrogant of me, but it was a legitimate question. I wanted to see, well, what's my high end? Because I knew that I wanted a pool. I knew I wanted a workout room. I knew I wanted a multimedia room. And what else did I want? An office. So those were the 4 things I wanted specifically for me in my first home. And he found it. But at the end of the day, when it comes to understanding what's going to get people to give you their information, that's the important part. It can be that preferred homes list. It could be how much home can I afford. It can be a cheat sheet. It could be whatever it happens to be. It's that offer that you can create, or your brokerage already has, or you feel that you can just readily get from somewhere else. So having that offer that's different, having that offer that's not just you saying, hey, use me for your next home buying or home selling needs, because that's not an offer. All right, so that's from the buyer side. From the seller side, offering a cheat sheet. Just again, we're talking about offers. We're crafting an offer, creating a compelling reason for somebody to give us their contact information. In this instance, it's a seller. So the cheat sheet on how to sell faster and for more. Well, that's interesting, right? The moving checklist, how to save $10,000 on your next move. That's pretty appealing, right? So creating those types of offers, the seller net sheet, so how much you're gonna take home down to the penny. So notice how I get a little bit salacious towards the end of the offer. There's a bit of salaciousness that you need to create. There's a little bit of buzz that you need to create as a real estate agent, because you want to stand out beyond other real estate agents. Now, you don't want to lie, but you do want to provide a more of a compelling reason, an emotional reason for somebody to pick you up on or take you up on that offer that you're making. How to sell for fast and more. That's appealing. The seller checklist, the moving checklist. How to save $10,000 in your next move. Well, you need to come up with how you're going to save $10,000 on your next move. Now, I unfortunately on this video I can't share what we do on the back end to do that, because that's just for my team, but you get the gist. All right, so that's creating an offer. That's the fundamental thing that you need to understand right here and right now, because it's going to make the next three platforms that we talk about that much more effective. So that's really the essential part, the foundational part, understanding that you need to create a compelling reason for somebody to reach out to you. A business card is not a compelling reason. A flyer is not a compelling reason. Direct mail is not a compelling reason. You posting on social media that you got somebody under contract, that's not a compelling reason, right? So we just need to start, we need to start looking at ourselves from the outside looking in. And I know that's difficult. I know that's challenging once you're in real estate and you're in this echo chamber of other real estate agents talking about GCI, talking about listings, talking about aftermarket value, talking about CMAs. So we get into this little bubble, but we fail to get out of that bubble and realize that half of the things that we post out there, people don't understand. People don't understand our jargon. I didn't. Coming into the industry, I had no idea what a CMA was. I didn't. And here's how I keep saying arrogant. What's going on? Am I projecting something? Coming into the industry, I kid you not, because I was not necessarily in a sales role where I was previously at. I did manage a sales team, but I didn't break it down in this way. Coming into the industry, I didn't even know what a lead was. I know that sounds really silly, right? I didn't know what the term lead. I understood what a prospect was, but I never heard of individuals being called a lead. That's not the terminology that we use, because back in my day, so I was the chief operating officer of a network of compounding pharmacies. So we distributed medications all across the United States, and how we got compensated was being licensed in all of these states, but distributing medications to each one of those states. And for us, the driver was not a home buyer and a home seller. Obviously, it was doctors. So we were used to we were used to them. They were prospects. They were, that's what they were to us. They weren't leads. So I would work with the sales team, either in-house in W-2 role or independent contractors that we would strategically partner with to form these relationships with doctors to get into their I keep wanting to call it a CRM, but that's not what it's called anymore. Or it was never called a CRM. But where they distribute medication, to where we were actually the pharmacy, where they would click our pharmacy or our pharmacy network and send us the description, the prescription. Notice I get messed up with healthcare and real estate. So send us the prescription directly. So that was a huge advantage for us, because once we got into their software, we were not going to get out. So that's something that, again, I just kind of bring that into context, because coming into the industry as somebody that, I'm fairly well educated, if you will, I'd like to think, we missed a lot. Like, from the outside looking in, there's a lot of things that right now people don't understand you when you're talking about CMAs, when you're talking about those buzzwords, those jargon words that we as real estate agents, we take for granted. So just be aware of that. So whenever you were talking about creating an offer, you're presenting whatever it happens to be, but also getting a little bit more, going back to that whole being a little bit salacious, a little bit buzzy, if you will, and creating a compelling reason for somebody to reach out to us. So that's the offer. Now, let me know if there's any questions on that. But let's get tactical in the platforms that I want to highlight today. The first platform that I want to highlight today is you're on right now, and that is YouTube. YouTube is the first platform that I want to highlight, and one that I really want to focus on, because we've heard and we've talked about YouTube for quite a while now. In the past, I think my first video, I looked at it the other day, when I was talking about YouTube, I think it was like nearly 3 years ago. Nearly 3 years ago. It for sure was over. No, it was probably 2.5 years ago, whenever I was talking about YouTube. So a lot of things have changed from that day to now. And what's changed? It's being adopted more and more and more. So you're still in a great position of adopting YouTube. However, you need to really pick up the ball and run with it, because it is still, you still have an opportunity before you get squeezed out. The reason I like YouTube is many, but just to highlight a few, it's free. I don't have to pay anybody to do this live stream. You don't have to pay anybody to do this live stream. It's a one and done model. As soon as the record button goes off right here, it's here for eternity. It's here forever. So I don't have to come back to this. So in the future, if you're watching this in the future, you're going to comment down below and hit that like button. Thank you so much. And beyond that, I don't have to do this presentation again. So these presentations I do for associations. These presentations I do for large brokerages. These presentations I do for lenders, for title companies. I do these presentations a lot, but I guess I'm limited. I'm boxed into the size of the organization, where whether I'm doing this digitally, where I present to hundreds of people, or in person, where I do present to, I guess technically it's not thousands, but it's over 1,000. So I can't technically say thousands, or else I'd be lying to you. But when it comes to being in person, that's, once it's done, it's done. So there I'm kind of bottled up, if you will. So there's a finite amount of people that I can reach. Here, that's not the case. There's 2 billion active monthly users on YouTube, and more people are finding this channel. So it's almost like the sky is the limit in terms of, I'm not going to be able to reach every single one that hops on here, because not everyone's going to have the need that I specifically feel. And also not everybody's going to jive with me anyway. So there's that aspect. So when it comes to YouTube, making videos about home buying, making videos about home selling, making neighborhood videos, making business videos, making videos that speak to the area that you work is powerful. Because there, as our friend Gary Vee says, you become the digital mayor. You become that person where whenever somebody types in a certain city, a geography, then you show up. Now, I need to shout out a good friend of the channel, and actually an agent that's part of my team, Warren Oberhauser. Anytime you type in Pleasanton, California, you're going to find Warren's information, Warren's videos. And we're talking about the entire city. So Pleasanton, CA, or Pleasanton, California, you're going to find multiple videos of his. So he's done a really good job of being that digital mayor, because he covers it all. He covers the aspect of, what's going on in the city, but also covers the neighborhoods. Also talks about home buying, talks about home selling, talks about the mistakes, talks about all this other type of stuff. So he's really cornered the niche on anytime somebody is wanting to learn more about Pleasanton, and also considering moving there, because right down the road you have Silicon Valley. They're going to stumble upon him. And the average price, so just watching all of his videos, I kind of know what the average price point is there, and it's quite high. It's quite high. So when it comes to YouTube, you're reaching people that you typically don't reach. So is this making sense? Warren is great. I'm trying to get there. Dan, hey, my friend. Dan is also a powerhouse. So he has a really good YouTube channel. So check out Dan. He absolutely crushes it. He's so consistent with his content. And he himself is becoming the digital mayor in his neck of the woods. So this is being done strategically, where, again, whenever somebody is looking to move in that area, especially Florida, where Dan is out of, they're going to go and start broad. They don't know what to look for. They just know that, hey, I want to get out of here, or hey, I just got relocated. I need to learn more about this area. And, Dan's information is going to show up. Warren's information is going to show up. Lauren's information is going to show up. And these are all agents that I work with on the YouTube side, but they are putting in some amazing work, some amazing content out there that's absolutely resonating. Just last week, Lauren, she's heavily on YouTube. She's heavily all in on YouTube. The last week she got a $1.25 million cash buyer, ready to go. There's not going to be an easier lead for you to convert than a YouTube lead. So I'm going to repeat that again. There's not going to be an easier lead for you to convert than a YouTube lead. That should be my catchphrase. Note that to self. I need to come back and read that. But here's the thing. And here's where I tie back the essentials part, creating that offer. Dan, Warren too, but Dan does a great job of integrating this. Hey, y'all, sorry, came in late. Warren, we're just shouting you out, my friend. So Warren and Dan, both of them do a great job of having that offer. And I believe it's the preferred homes list. I think Warren is under 600,000 because of his price point, and I think Dan is at 400,000. I think I'm doing this all off of memory. So they have a preferred homes list on their main channel, and they have a preferred homes list on all of the descriptions of their YouTube videos. So that gives people that are looking to be in that area an opportunity to click on that and see the homes that are available in that particular area, the preferred homes list. And now I always get this question, well, Jaime, what makes them preferred? Let's not overthink it. What makes them preferred is that they're active. What makes them preferred is that they're not sold yet. So what we're talking about is a safe search. That's all we're talking about. So we'll talk about that last component, how to turn views into leads, a little bit later on, but understanding that aspect of having that offer ready to go is powerful. All right, so that's YouTube. Now, if there's any questions, please feel free to drop them down below. As you're coming in, a like goes a long way. And yeah, that's it. So a like goes a long way. All right, so second platform I want to shout out today is Instagram. Instagram is one that I'm just getting a really good hang. I'm just starting to really get a really good hang on. I know I'm several years behind. I knew the importance of Instagram, but I only used Instagram as a pay per play type of a platform. So we would just run ads and get all that we wanted from there. But now I'm being more intentional with growing the Instagram channel, because what I really liked about it originally is just time was not on my side, and I really was focused in and dialed in on YouTube. What I really like about Instagram is similar to YouTube, I reach those people that I typically cannot reach. So the way that happens is through the hashtag system that Instagram made popular. So from these hashtags, you get into communities that were never connected to you. So it's a great way for you to scale. What I did not like about Instagram at that moment or originally was that whenever you make posts, whenever you make comments, whenever you make videos, whenever you do all this fun stuff, it would quickly evaporate. It would quickly go away. But as you get more content out there, what I soon realized is Instagram has really gotten very, very good of sharing your content after the fact, a month after the fact, 3 months after the fact. So as your content is built up more and more and more, it's going to be promoted by Instagram as well. So when it comes to Instagram, the basic thing that you want to understand there is getting into other communities or other audiences that you never had access to. That's very powerful. That's something that we cannot overlook. So from the Instagram part, that's huge. But also with Instagram, you get one URL. So I mention that because that's important. So you get one URL, meaning you can't, whenever you go to the description, you cannot click preferred homes list on the post. On the post that you make, you can't. It's not hyperlinkable. So there's two ways to drive people out of Instagram. One is through that one link that I shared, or two, having over 10,000 followers to where people can swipe up on your stories. Those are the ways that you pull people out of Instagram. So while a lot of folks will never get to 10,000 subscribers, you don't need, or followers, you don't need to, but that one link now becomes even more important. So that's actually on your description. So I want to encourage you to download a little plugin called Linktree. Linktree allows you to hyperlink to multiple websites, to multiple places. So it's free. You don't have to pay anything. So Linktree allows you to put your preferred homes list, your MLS search, your contact form, your home buying calculator, what have you. So it allows you to take that one link and convert it into whatever is meaningful for you. And that's really the powerful way, or the most effective way, to pull people out of Instagram into your world. All right, so Warren under 1 million. Yeah, so Warren's in an interesting market. Warren, good stuff, man. I just wrote an all cash offer for 1.35 received from my channel. Jaime knows what he's saying. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? That's awesome. Warren, I didn't even know that. Awesome. Cool, man. So there you go. So there you go. Cash offers flying all over the place. So from the Instagram, that's also something that, again, what I really like about Instagram is that you're reaching those people that you typically can't. A little bit different than Facebook. A little bit different with Facebook. On your personal profile, you're reaching those people that are already connected with you. Now, how you go outside of Facebook, your personal profile is going to other groups like garage groups, buy-sell groups, referral groups, other real estate agent groups. That's how you get outside of your own network. And that does have its place. We won't highlight that today. I just want to give you that as an illustration of what I mean by those outside of your immediate area. So just understand that with Instagram, that gives you that opportunity of reaching those that you typically would never stumble upon in real life, obviously, but also in your normal social media behavior. All right, so one quick thing, I'm going to refresh my camera because as a lot of you know, it has a limit on it. And then just sometimes it doesn't come back on. I need to get a new camera, guys. So let's start a Patreon account. And oh, it's not going to come back on today, huh? We're okay. Yeah. There we go. There you go. And now I'm fuzzy. All right. Yeah, that camera, it's going to need to be replaced. Let's talk about the third platform, though. Let's talk about Clubhouse. This is the one that I see as a dark horse, as I mentioned early on. So if you're just joining us, a like goes a long way, and thank you so much for being here. But this is what I was talking about at the beginning. So we talked about the essentials, which is creating the offer. We talked about two platforms, YouTube and Instagram. Now we're talking about Clubhouse. Now, when it comes to the modern way of lead generation, this one right here is the dark horse. It is absolutely a game changer in so many different ways, but it hasn't really been tapped into as a lot of people are trying to figure out. A lot of people are trying to figure out that formula of how do I make this effective for my home buyers and my home sellers. From a B2B perspective, almost like a LinkedIn on steroids, it is wild. It has absolutely just been beyond my imagination on what it's done for me personally from a business standpoint, but also from relationship standpoint of the people that I've been able to meet through Clubhouse. A lot of you have been a beneficiary of that. So I've had Justin Conoco here. I've had Giselle here, which talked about TikTok. I've had the Zillow killer, so James Rimbert, on here. And all of those relationships were fortified because Camille, the peak performance coach, all of those relationships were fortified, and a lot of them were started on Clubhouse. So Clubhouse is right now a dark horse when it comes to buyer and seller leads. However, it's coming. There's gonna be a. I'm piloting two strategies right now that I've yet to see turn into something meaningful to where I can share them over to you or feel comfortable doing it. I don't really subscribe to theory in terms of presenting you theory. Hey, this should work. No, I want to give you something that actually works. So you're not going to be the guinea pig. I'll be the guinea pig, and then I'll pass them on to you. But when it comes to Clubhouse, I do think that there's a huge power to that because you have such access to so many people. You have such access to be in the same room as individuals like Gary Vee, as individuals like Glenn Stanford, as individuals like really just name any celebrity basically at this point. Mr. Beast, if you want, where Elon Musk, where you get to sit in the same room, digital room, and hear them speak in an open forum. It's almost like you're being in a podcast setting. You're there while it's being recorded. So it's just wild to think that you have that level of proximity to these individuals that you would originally have to fly out to large convention areas like Orlando, San Diego, Las Vegas, spend the money on airfare, go there for a keynote which lasts an hour to an hour and a half, and then spend all that money and then come back. But now you can turn this on at any one time. Let's see if there's anything interesting happening right now. Oops. So you have all of these. There's nothing really popping right now. Rich versus broke. Breakfast with Champions, Millionaire, Breakfast Club. That one usually has some good speakers where you have this proximity. But again, right now, for the buyers and sellers, I do think that there is a place. I just need to really crack that code to then pass on to you some different ways to specific ways for you to pull buyers and sellers out of it. Now, what really highlighted the Clubhouse potential for me and really crystallized it for me was actually just yesterday. A big so I went to a auction style room where some individuals that are either good in marketing, are good in advertising, are good with what have you, that speak to the real estate agent space and speak at a very high level, they were auctioning off their time. So they were auctioning off their time, and what was so powerful is that room was on a Sunday. It was like at 10 in the morning, and there's only about 45, max 60 people in that Clubhouse room, and $40,000 was raised. Think about that. So just such a tiny little room where you had about 10 people being auctioned off. I don't know the exact number. 10 people's time was being auctioned off, and they raised that much money. So with only 40 to 60 people in attendance. That's powerful. That's huge. So tapping into Clubhouse, that's something that's really been intriguing. I know how to do that, and I've been doing that effectively for the B2B side, for the real estate agent side. So helping real estate agents, from the real estate agent standpoint. But from the buyers and sellers side, I think that this is a dark horse. Again, I'm experimenting with a few things that as soon as they get dialed in, I'll be able to share very tactical, like boom, 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 ways for you to extrapolate buyer leads and seller leads from there. But I just wanted to bring this up because I do think that this has a lot of legs. It hasn't been commercialized from the B2C standpoint. Next month, the Android comes out. So the Android version comes out. Right now, it's only for the iOS, so the iPhone. But once the Android comes out, I think that there's going to be a lot of opportunity for those that want to dig in there and really make it work. Really make it work. So those are 3 platforms I wanted to shout out, but also this blurry thing is really throwing me off. I think it's a little bit better. All right. The key concept to understand. So we talked about the essentials. We talked about the 3 platforms, but now how do we turn views into leads? How do we turn people that are watching us into inviting them into our CRM? The key concept to understand here is now that you have your offer, remember it's your offer for home buyers or home sellers, you need to put it behind a paywall. And it doesn't mean that somebody has to pay with finance, so with money. They just have to pay with their information. So we're talking about landing pages, we're talking about squeeze pages, we're talking about funnels. They're all used interchangeably. You just need a place to where you can direct traffic to and have the individuals give you their contact information in exchange for whatever offer you made them. If you made them an offer of a checklist, well, they need to receive that checklist. If you made them an offer of a private webinar that shows them how to refinance their home in a step-by-step way, or if you offer them a specific video series on how to sell their home, FSBO, so how to sell their home by owner, then deliver that. But what's important here is that you have an opportunity or present an opportunity for people to give you their contact information for in exchange for whatever it is that you're offering. It's in exchange for the offer. So that's the important part. So if you're creating landing pages, squeeze pages, funnels, and putting those links in your bios, in your content that you distribute, or as a follow-up to when people reach out to you in the DMs or email you, you are a long way ahead than most people, most real estate agents. So you need a vehicle, a tool to pull those leads in for you as you're sleeping. So every single day I get, now understand that this is more from the agent side, I get well over 20 real estate agents contact information in my inbox every single day. So that's because I've applied this same strategy for the agent side. So I'm more on the B2B side as opposed to B2C side at this point, but the concept is still the same. I have an offer, I know the platforms that I'm targeting, and then I make that opportunity available to where somebody, or make that offer available to somebody in the form of a squeeze page, in the form of a funnel, to where they give me their contact information and become a lead for me. All right, folks. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure. One quick thing before we go, if you wouldn't mind checking out the Instagram or connecting on Instagram, if there's anything specific I can help you with, or if there's anything that brought value to you, then go ahead and comment down below. I love these live streams, so let's continue doing them. Our next live stream is on Friday. Until then, I'll see you then. Stay safe and